Hi crafters, it's Vicki from the Paper Connection. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to make a beautiful birthday card, and this happens to be one of my favorite stamp sets. It's called the Perennial Birthday. It's got lots of sentiments and the flowers are really fun. Lots of different ways that you can do that. You can stamp them and cut them out, which I've done that before. I'll tell you another interesting trick. You can take your markers and you can color in the different color of whatever color you want to color for the flowers, and then you take another color and the green on the leaves, and then just huff on it and then stamp it, and then you have two different colors. I've done that before and it's a wonderful effect. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create our own, basically our own designer series paper. We're going to create our own background. We have some beautiful designer series papers in our catalogs, but I like to get a little creative sometimes and just create my own. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to take this block, which is our C block, and place my stamp on there. And because I'm going to do this card just exactly the way I did this one, because I chose to use a basic gray cardstock, I want my ink color to match that. I want all the colors to be cohesive and come together. So I'm going to use the basic gray. I forgot to mention that I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm actually in the US. Georgia. I live in Georgia, in case you couldn't tell from the accent. So what I want to do here is I want it to look like it's like this piece of paper has been cut from a larger piece, and so I'm going to just stamp off in different areas. I'm just going to randomly do it, different directions. I may do a little like that. I'm using my grid paper, and the reason grid paper is fantastic, but it's really good for when you're stamping and you're going to end up stamping off the edge. There's no right or wrong of how to do this. Just move it around, twist it. You can put as many or as few as you like, and a good portion of this is going to be covered as well. Okay, so I'm going to clean my stamp off. This is my Simply Chamois, and you just press it into the Simply Chamois and it will get your ink block clean. Okay, take that off. I'm going to go ahead and close this basic gray, and I'm going to use a dauber to color in my flowers. Okay, just set this off to the side so I don't get it messed up. And for my flowers, I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, and for my leaves, I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. In the meantime, I'm going to not talk, and I'm going to do this really quickly. Okay, see, I told you I was a messy stamper. Okay, so you notice that it's outside of the line. It's okay. It really is going to be all right. And you notice that for the most part that I would stamp off because I wanted to take the blunt of the ink so that it wasn't quite as powerful, and have it more of a soft color. Unfortunately, I kind of didn't do that there, but it's okay. It's still going to be a beautiful card. All right, the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to take my basic gray, and I'm going to place Happy Birthday on my block. Let's see if I can get it lined up correctly. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stamp this onto my rectangle. Ta-da! I'm going to adhere this to the Daffodil Delight rectangle first. So we're going to adhere that down. There we go. And then I'm going to use my U-pick tool, and I'm going to use the paper piercing part of it and apply dimensionals across the back. Dimensionals are basically little foam pieces that have a sticky substance on both sides, and it raises it off of your page, and thus it gives it dimension. How novel is that? Okay, before I do that, I want to make sure that I'm getting everything lined up correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it down to my Daffodil Delight background. And don't worry about the dimensions. I know I haven't told them to you. I don't want to waste your time with you writing those down. I'm going to have those at the bottom on this video, so you'll be able to get those. Get my bone folder. Just burnish that side of that card really well. Like that. And then we're going to adhere this to my basic gray cardstock. And this card is going to end up having 5.5 by 4 1/4 dimensions. All right, and we're just going to place it right about here. Now you could add ribbon, you could add twine, you could add enamel dots, but you know what? I think this is a beautiful card just like it is. The only other thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp a sentiment on the inside. And I think we're going to go with "Here's to Celebrating You." Alrighty, let me get a smaller block. Place that right here. Okay. We're also going to do that in basic gray. Right about there. And I like to doctor it up a little bit. So I think what we'll do is we'll do some, maybe let's do a flower on each side of it. Here's to Celebrating You. Ta-da! Fun, right? Okay, you'll notice that as I was putting together this card, I did my stamping before I did my adhering. That is someone who has learned by mistake. If you stamp and adhere, you're stuck with it. If you mess up when you stamp and you don't adhere yet, you can always redo it. And it is just paper after all, right? Okay, I hope you have enjoyed today's card.